Alejandro Barbajosa is joining us now from Argus. Alejandro, is the president right? Do you think that we're going to see $100 oil?
What is really interesting is that the current situation really favors Russia in the sense that we're seeing a regional gas crisis that is having a global projection through the global oil market. So let's remember that originally natural gas prices are very regionalized as a function of the pipelines that connected suppliers to the consumers in every different region. Through the LNG market, the liquefied natural gas market, that becomes global, and that also seeps through to the global oil market. So yes, in this sense, what's happening in Europe and what is happening in China as well is for the first time creating a crisis, a global energy crisis that is manifesting itself in the price of oil. And although the fundamentals of the crude market itself are not as tight as to justify $100 oil, we could see that the tightness in coal, gas, and power, mainly the generation fuels, boost the price of oil to $100 a barrel. I can't remember another time when we've seen a similar situation.
The president of Russia is pretty new to getting on board, if you will, with the climate change agenda. I asked him if he feels that Europe and the United States have really lost their leverage when it comes to energy markets as a result of their push toward green energy. And, you know, he didn't really spell it out, but that seems to be the narrative, that you can't really have any leverage when you're urging the entire world to move away from fossil fuels at a time when the IEA, as yesterday we saw in their latest report, is still saying that we need multiple rounds of investment in traditional sources of energy. When you take a step back and think about this, how damaging is it for the industry as a whole?
On the interview first, and let me say that actually what we see in the gas markets now in Europe, what Russia would like to see is a shift towards a more long-term supply agreements as opposed to spot purchases of gas, which is the way in which European consumers have been stockpiling, or actually not stockpiling as fast as they should have. So on that security of supply, Russia also wants to ensure there's security of demand for its gas in the long term. Now, let's remember that gas is by excellence the fuel of the transition, right? It's a transition fuel that will take us from the hydrocarbons. It's less polluting than other hydrocarbons, and eventually that will be what opens the door to the renewables. But at times when the renewables are not generating as much power as they need, either because of a lack of wind or a lack of rain and reduced hydropower production in Brazil or in China, that means that gas needs to take a much more prominent role especially to meet peak load, what is called peak load demand. So Russia at this point in time, with its role within OPEC Plus, and as the biggest supplier of gas into Europe, stands in a very unique position. Now, President Putin was also very adamant to stress the importance of the alliance with OPEC Plus beyond the current supply agreement, and also very intelligently linking that to ways in which Russia and OPEC, the rest of OPEC, can cooperate for the development of a greener energy environment. So we really see the president taking preeminence and taking a central role in calming the markets last week by reassuring OPEC supplies, and also by introducing Russia firmly into the debate about the energy transition.